Welcome to Spa Francorchamps then for some Caterham racing action, and when you hear those words you know you're in for an entertaining half an hour, so strap yourself in everybody, because 60 Caterhams are heading onto the circuit now for their green flag lap ahead of 30 minutes of frenetic racing. We had two Caterham races yesterday, both of which sadly were rain-shortened races, and this race, the second race for the Roadsport and the 270Rs, hopefully should not be affected by the weather one bit. It's Tom Allen then on the pole position, and alongside with Neil Fraser, with Daniel French and Daniel Halstead sharing row 2. Matt Shepherd and Graham McDonald are next on the third row, the 270Rs making up the bulk of the front of the grid. Then it will be James de Lusignan and Justin Heat with then Simon Goodwin and Greg Monks rounding out the top 10. Matthew Creek and Ollie Pratt are on row 6 with John Isherwood and James Gilmore, then Al Melton and Chris Moore making up the 16th row of the grid. And then the rest of them will file in behind. The Roadsports headed by Lars Hoffman after a win yesterday, with second place going to Stuart Bell, third Alan Ventus, fourth Andrew Murgatroyd and fifth Giuseppe Fleet. Those cars will start towards the back or to the middle of the field. They have a separate grid basically, so from 33rd place onwards we have the Roadsports, which are the more production-based cars, still running with their headlights and slightly less powerful, slightly heavier as well, and they are still great racing cars though. They still produce great racing. Then you can see the Roadsports cars coming through towards the back of the field. And yesterday's race for both classes was definitely affected by the weather, which was pretty appalling, honestly. The storm rolled through just after their race had started, or just as their race was starting, really. So we didn't get a huge amount of racing in the end, just 4 laps, and it was shortened to just 17 minutes, which red flagged after 17 minutes of racing had gone by, because cars were aquaplaning off in a straight line, and that's always a sign that conditions are getting a little too treacherous to handle. So the Roadsports and the 270Rs then are two of the lower rungs of the Caterham racing ladder. The entry level is the Caterham Academy, and most of the Roadsport cars are ex-Academy cars. In fact, a lot of the 270Rs are ex-Academy cars as well. One of the great things about the Caterham racing ladder is you can use the same car in Academy and Roadsport and 270R. It's only, I think, when you go up to the next category, the 310Rs, that you then get a new car which you take with you right up to the 420Rs at the top level. But it's a fantastic initiative, and as you can see, continues to be hugely successful and hugely popular with massive grids of cars. I think the smallest Caterham grid we have is the 420R grid, which is still about 20 odd cars. You know, it's still a good entry, and that's the top level and therefore the most expensive level of Caterham racing. Championship wise, by the way, coming into this weekend, Stuart Bell and Angelo Alvarez in the Roadsports were separated by just 1 point at the top of the championship, but Bell beat Alvarez in the previous race yesterday. So in the Roadsports, it's Stuart Bell who leads the championship, having finished second yesterday, and Alvarez was only 7th place in class. In the 270Rs, Justin Heap had a 10-point advantage over Daniel French. Well, Daniel French finished 3rd, and Justin Heap was only 8th, so that's really come down now between the two of them. Daniel Halstead was only a further 15 points back in 3rd, and he finished right up there as well in 4th position. So championship-wise, there's some of the drivers to watch for, but honestly, I don't think we're going to have much time to refer to the championship points, and there's little point in doing it until the race finishes, because it will change almost by the corner, you would imagine. I know I'm bigging this up, and usually that's a mistake, but with Caterham racing, you can always be fairly confident that you're going to see a real spectacle. And with the slipstreaming opportunities that we have here at Spa, and the wide circuit as well that we have, it is even easier for the drivers to execute overtaking manoeuvres. And this is definitely going to be a sight to behold as they all pour into that first corner. There, I think, is going to be a delayed start for the Roadsport, so that they don't all have to go through the first corner together. And that creates a nice separation of the classes for us as well, makes it easier for us to follow, if nothing else. But there'll be a lot of back and forth between the two classes, because they're both likely to be fiercely contested races. So the back row of the grid then is in position. Charlie Mizon, who was one of 5 non-finishers yesterday, lines up at the back with fellow Roadsport's non-finisher Gary Lapidus. Everybody else in position though, as the 5 red lights come on, the revs start to rise, and the Caterham 270R and Roadsports categories get underway now, with a good start made there from the inside of row number 2 by Daniel French, but the road is blocked, and so Tom Allen will lead them into the first corner by the looks of it. Who's that coming up the inside? That's Matt Shepherd, I think, and Daniel Halstead trying to get into 3rd position at the same time. Anyone get? Well, there's already a bit of contact. Look, wings going flying in the middle of the road. That's not good. Someone will be running a slightly lighter car now than they had a few moments ago, but the leaders appear to have got through more or less in one piece, with Tom Allen leading the way. 2nd place looks to be Daniel French, I think that might be. Pick them all out in a moment or two. In the Roadsports, though, they're getting underway now as well, with Stuart Bell and Lars Hoffman sharing the front row, and Bell in the black car is going to go through, but locks up and goes straight on at La Source, and so Hoffman will go back ahead, I think, and then here comes Alan Venters, the 174 car, trying to join in the fun. Slightly cleaner start in the Roadsports. That wing is still in the middle of the road, though, which gets clobbered again by a few cars. Marshall's having not yet had the chance to get that moved out of the way, but a good start made initially by Stuart Bell, but it is going to be Lars Alexander Hoffman who leads them through the Eau Rouge sequence for the first time. 1 or 2 running a bit wide, but they are more or less through in one piece, I think. Although there's a spin there just as we cut from the shot. There was someone spinning onto the grass, I think, and it was the 23 car that went off. And that is, I scanned down my enormous entry, 1, 2, 3, Anthony Warner, who's gone off, and here's how he did it. Keep an eye on the yellow car, he's up over the curb. Oh no, the car behind him was up over the curb and made contact with him. And he does clatter the Armco barrier. These cars are fairly strong, but they don't usually stand up to things like that too well, so he may be forced into retirement, possibly. At the front of the field, though, the order has changed again. I think that's Halstead now 2nd place. Lots of jockeying for position further back, but it's crucial that you get away with the leading group. However big that group may be, you need to try and escape with them, and so far, most people are able to do that, but as the race goes on, inevitably 1 or 2 will drop out of the lead pack, and then as you get into the final 10 minutes, you are left with the drivers that will contend for the victory. So what we get often in these 30-minute races is a phenomenon by which the first 10 minutes are very good, the last 10 minutes are usually even better, and the middle 10 minutes they're usually content to sort of sit and work together a little bit. But until you get yourself into the best running order, and as high up the order as you're happy to be, then no one really is content to follow each other around for just this moment. We've had a change in the Roadsports, just to illustrate the point. That's Stuart Bell now, the orange car back through. So Stuart Bell back ahead of Lars Alexander Hoffman. That's good for his championship hopes then. If he can beat Angelo Salvanos again in this race by a few positions, he should, he says, trying to do the maths, yes, he should be able to take the championship lead away. The tone. Of course, these Roadsports cars are a little bit less aerodynamic than their not particularly aerodynamic 270R siblings, so they the slipstream effect is even more noticeable. So across the start-finish line we go then, side by side for the race lead, and it is going to be Daniel Halstead in the white car on the inside line who's challenging Tom Allen for that lead. Tom Allen, though, sweeping around the outside at La Source. They're still side by side, and then it's side by side for 3rd as well, and Justin Heap, I think, has got himself ahead of the blue and yellow car of Daniel French. So the leaders still sort of side by side, but actually Justin Heap is now going for 2nd place, so the grey number 6 car of Justin Heap, not content with taking 4th, looks to try and gain another place, but can't quite do it in the end. Then we've got Graham McDonald, the car with the Scottish flag adorning every body panel, which is up in place as well now. So it is all changing again, as we said, fairly rapidly. Justin Heap with another good run onto the Kemmel Straight now, but they fan out in the slipstream, and it looks like the first lap of the race again as they 4 abreast now head down to the chicane, maybe 5 abreast this time as they hit the braking zone. This surely won't work, and up the inside of absolutely everybody. I think that's James Delusignan, is it? Number 86 who's gone through. Oh, there's a bit of banging of panels though. No, it's 25, excuse me. It's actually a car from even further back. That is 25 Neil Fraser, who started on the front row of the orange car. He was 7th at the start of that Kemmel Straight, and now he's in the race lead with Daniel French 2nd, and Daniel Halstead down to 3rd position. Heap is 4th. Tom Allen, who was leading at the start of the lap, is down to 5th. And that is how quickly your fortunes can change. Now, in the Roadsports, they're content to just run 3 abreast rather than 6 abreast into the corner. And it is still going to be, by the looks of it, Stuart Bell who holds on to the lead. There's the 174 of Alan Venters. There's another wing now scattered at the side of the road. That's not a huge surprise, really. 142 Ben Buckley going around the outside of Lars Alexander Hoffmann, or trying to, for the second place in class, but the race leader, that's what the screech of tyres was. A big moment for Stuart Bell, and he loses the class lead and loses second place as well. So Stuart Bell loses 2 positions there with an unforced error, really, but he was just trying to break the toe. That's what you've got to really try and do. If you can break that slipstream, then sometimes, just sometimes, you are able to break clear of the cars behind and let them all fall over each other for second. That's less likely to happen here with what is such a high-speed momentum circuit, but at some of the tracks that we race at, you can break the toe, and doing so means that you're in for a much easier afternoon than you otherwise would be. But they're almost 3 abreast again for the race lead now into the pith path, and it's going to be the orange machine of Stuart Bell that starts his recovery drive now, back into second position over the curbs as well, trying to get back in touch with the race leader. And here are the overall race leaders now. It is still number 25 that leads the way then, Neil Fraser from second place, Daniel Halstead. Daniel French is back into third now, the blue and yellow car. Justin Heap and Graham McDonald are side by side for fourth, and Tom Allen, the red car, thinks that looks fun, I'll join in as well. In the end, they all sort of drive into each other almost, going off the corner, and in avoiding contact, they're all slowing down off the corner rather than speeding up. So they've lost ground now to the leaders, who are side by side again though. And Halstead goes through on this occasion, with Daniel French trying to go around the outside too, but he's always going to get shown the edge of the road, and he knew that, so ducked back in line. The worst move you can make in a Caterham race, really, is a move to the outside that does not work, because once you get kicked out of this queue, there is no re-entry. You have to go right to the back of the line and start again. But it's all about timing as well. If you're in a pack of cars like this going on to the last lap, where do you want to be? Do you want to be leading? Probably not. Do you want to be second? Probably not. If last lap is anything to go by, you want to be 7th place at this part of the circuit, because then you can potentially take the race lead away by the time you get to the end of the Kemmel Straight. Right, we were 5 abreast last. Oh, contact there between Halstead and Heap is still on the grass as he's going for the race lead, despite just having been elbowed off the road. In the end, the gap was closed and Graham McDonald almost comes through, but it is actually going to be Tom Allen that gets the lead this time. So Allen leading the way, McDonald second, French third, 4th place for the man who was leading a couple of corners ago, Neil Fraser. And then who's 5th? It's Halstead 5th. With Heap down to 6th after that little bit of contact he had. There's the 68 car, which is Simon Goodwin on the inside line, who I think is one of the drivers that has shed a wing in the early stage of the race. So the 270R pack then works its way down the hill. Right, back to the Lacombe now, and this time it is Stuart Bell who gets the race lead from Ben Buckley second. That's Alvarez, I think, going wide, was it? The blue machine then, Angelos Alvarez, yeah, 22 it was, who is just not having a particularly good weekend here for whatever reason. He's not clicked with this circuit in there. Alvarez, the 22 car on the outside line, in danger of losing another place now to Andy Lees, the number 2 car. Andy Lees was leading the race yesterday until he went off the road in the rain and ended up slipping backwards slightly. And in the end, Andy Lees finished 9th place in the Roadsports, 33rd overall. 3 abreast racing here then, a bit further back into Pouhon, and that in fact involves Alvarez again there. The blue car losing another spot now to the 164 of Giuseppe Fillet. And he might lose another too, because there's another car getting up the inside now, but there is a bit of a breakaway forming here in the Roadsports. It's developing into a 4-way scrap for now, with the class being led then by Stuart Bell, 2nd place for Ben Buckley. Oh, what's this? The 270R's a single file. This can't last, surely. Oh no, as soon as I look back at the screen, it's side by side again for the lead, and it is McDonald who now gets to the front for, I think, the first time in this race. Gets very squirrely though through the second part of the bus stop, so he's not going to escape all that easily. I think it's impossible to escape, quite frankly, in Caterham racing. Tom Allen already, I think, is fighting back, in fact, as they go into the first corner. Yes, he is, and Tom Allen, just as quickly as he lost the lead, regains it at the very next corner. So Tom Allen definitely seems to be of the opinion that he wants to be controlling the pace out in front, but another wing goes, a rear wing this time. Yeah, it seems that Allen is keen to lead, whereas some of the drivers maybe are a bit happier to follow for now and pick their moment a bit later on. But I suppose Allen's thinking is that if he's at the front now and he can stay there, then at least that guarantees he'll be in the lead pack when we get into the final 10 minutes of racing. theory, we're getting into the portion of the race now where things tend to calm down, but no one told the 270R drivers, because here we go again with the slipstream. In a way, you have to pull out and overtake, because otherwise you're wasting all of that momentum that you carry up the hill, and that's what Graham McDonald does. Pulls to the outside of Tom Allen. Daniel French goes to the outside of him. Daniel Halstead, the white car, trying to buy into it all as well, but it is Allen that hangs on. That's interesting. And McDonald loses second place, and McDonald, who was the first one to blink there and pull out of the slipstream, actually didn't gain anything from it and lost the position. Justin Heaps back into 5th now. The car that's lost its wing appears to be the one in 6th, but I couldn't quite grab a number there. It is 86 then, James de Lusignan, who has shed his left rear corner. There's another car as well in that group, I think, that's done the same, which won't actually help the aerodynamics. Those wheel covers, the wheel guards and the wings are there for a reason. Right, Roadsport's time, and it looks like Lars Alexander Hoffman, the white car, is attacking. Stuart Bell's been demoted down the order, but the orange machine on the outside is trying to fight back, and that all means that it's Ben Buckley who has the lead in the 142, and Hoffman hangs on to 2nd, Bell 3rd, and then 164 is Giuseppe Fallet into 4th position. So having said there was a 4-car breakaway half a lap ago, how foolish of me was that, because we've now got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of them all together, dropping down the hill. Change through Brussels though, they stay as they were then through the tight right-hander, back down into turn 9, and then this middle sector, it's not impossible but certainly harder to overtake at, so the drivers may be a little more content to follow the leader for now. If you make a move here, it's likely just to be a block pass, and it's going to hold everyone up and cause all sorts of chaos. Side by side into Blanchemont can sometimes have the same sort of result though. Graham McDonald tried to make it 3 abreast, but found the road was well and truly blocked by Tom Allen and Daniel French in front of him. Allen again then is able to hang on to the race lead, which he was able to do yesterday, we noticed, before the rain really hit. Allen was the winner yesterday, but he was actually able, even when it was slightly drier, to fend them all off for longer than we expected him to be able to. Daniel French back on the inside. Oh, and into the gravel trap's gone 164. That's Giuseppe Fallet, I'm afraid, from the front end of the Road Sports category. Looks to be on the exit of Piff Paff, possibly, that he's gone off. We'll try and get a replay of that if we can, but for now, the 270R lead battle heads through La Source. Right, here we go. What happens to Fallet? Oh, that was bizarre, wasn't it? The car just snapped, and then he overcorrected, but I couldn't see if there was contact that began that or not. The car, when it arrived into shot underneath the gantry, was already out of control, it seemed, and he was fighting to collect it, but couldn't quite do it. So, unfortunately, he's in the gravel, and that car may be beached. If it is, no, there we go. Good work from the marshals. They get him back underway, but look at the rubbish that he drags onto the track with him. And that gravel is slippery, and the race leaders, particularly the 270Rs, will have absolutely no idea that's there. So when they get to that part of the circuit next, then things could get rather lively. Speaking of lively, here are the Road Sports, and it is Stuart Bell who's in lead now, ahead of Ben Buckley. Whilst Alexander Hoffman, though, has been the consistent top 3 runner in this race. He's never really been out of the top 3. Andy Lee's the first of the Gulf livery cars in into the top 5 for the first time. And Angelas Alvanos there, the AV74 number-plated car, is a little closer now than he has been. Back down through Brussels for the 270Rs then. And was it still Tom Allen that had the lead? I think it was. And yes, it is there, the red and black car in front. Graham McDonald 2nd, Daniel French 3rd, Daniel Halstead 4th, Justin Heap is 5th, James de Lusignan is 6th. So they're actually vaguely in the order they were at the start of the lap. So maybe they are now sticking to the script a bit more and realising that they're not going to pull away. So might as well just preserve the cars a little bit now in this middle part of the race before really doing battle later on. Or maybe they just had a lap off to catch their breath. Goodness knows I need that. Into the pit path now. This is where that gravel has been laid down on the circuit on the exit corner. So it doesn't catch anybody out. It is right on the racing line. There it is. Brilliant shot. And they run right through it. And it gets kicked up into the faces of the cars behind. And that will really catch your attention as well. If that gets flipped up onto your visor, it's like driving through a sandblasting machine, excuse me. And the drivers certainly get a bit of a shock when that sort of thing happens, but it didn't seem to lose them too much grip, and the battling can continue now up the hill with 26 trying to make some ground back up again. That's sorry, 36. No, I do mean 26, don't I? Trying to regain the ground. The orange machine James losing on in there as well, 86. We'll get it right in a moment, and he is into 5th place now and going for 4th, whilst the leaders are almost 3 abreast, but Tom Allen fending off McDonald and French. Oh, contact, and oh, that's going to cause chaos. Cars running into each other. It was always going to happen. Bits and pieces go flying. Well, I don't know what on earth that is that's been dragged onto the circuit, but that all involved Daniel Halstead. 79 is slowing with some damage, it would seem, as well, unfortunately. And so we're going to lose a couple, I think, from this pack as a result of that. 79 was Lewis Thompson, and there's more contact now at last source, and around goes Simon Goodwin. This, as I said, was the part of the race where they would all calm down and take it easy. Apparently not. Damaged steering then on the Goodwin car, so he is pulling into retirement. You're rather frustrated with that, I'm sure. Now, here is a replay of what happened to him. So there were cars slowing down around him. And then into the first corner he went, and he runs into the back of someone, does he? Yeah, locks up, and oh! Actually, that looked as though almost the suspension had broken already, and the steering had broken already, and he runs into the back of, I fear, that was Daniel Halstead. Yeah, I can't see Halstead now in the lead group. Oh, he's there, but he's a long way back, so certainly Halstead was involved in a couple of those bits of contact, it would seem. Justin Heap now going around the outside for 2nd place, car number 6, but gets sideways. Graham McDonald will therefore have the inside line for the final part of Lecom, and Heap won't give in, though. Keeps coming. Onto the brakes now into Brusseled. Can he complete the manoeuvre? Yes, he can. Nicely done from Justin Heap. Nice and late on the brakes, carried the speed down the hill, and continues on his way, so into 2nd place now for Justin. All of this, though, is sort of playing into the hands of Tom Allen. There's Simon Goodwin inspecting the damage, but it did almost look as if that front left suspension had given way, or the steering arm had broken maybe, before he actually... That looked to be the cause of the lockup rather than an effect of the contact, but we'd have to see that again to be sure. Meanwhile, in the Roadsport, do we have another lead change? Yes, we do. It is Ben Buckley who now goes ahead, with Lars Alexander Hoffman 2nd, and the orange number 119 of Stuart Bell down into 3rd position. There is Stuart, turning his way through, the championship leader in the Roadsports. Still doing better at the moment than Angelas Alvanos, who is the blue and white car in about 7th position. He might have been about to gain some more places there, though, because Andy Lees was almost assaulted by Ben Lopez Appleton. Thankfully avoided contact at the right-hander, which would have spun him right in front of the pack, so for that we can all be grateful. This lead pack in the Roadsports, they may be about a minute off the overall race leaders, but they're still providing great entertainment as Lars Hoffman now goes up the inside through Pouon. It's not a place you see much overtaking. Even he has not come out of this completely unscathed, though. Quite a lot of damage to the rear of the car. Tom Allen and Justin Heap, though, continue to do battle for the race lead. Now, can Justin Heap do what no one else has really been able to do so far? Get Tom Allen out of the lead of the race. Tom Allen, championship-wise, is not particularly a front runner, actually, in the 270Rs. So he's got nothing to lose, really, just going for the points. Justin Heap, though, well, he's also not really a contender, so in a way, both of these drivers just looking for a good result here to end their trip to Spa. More racing going on. That's James Murphy, number 3, going up the inside, the DPR Motorsport machine. DPR who run a large portion of the grid, it seems. Here they've got a big presence in the paddock, and as indeed does the Caterham Motorsport Championship Authority anyway, because there are an awful lot of Caterhams racing here, and there are an awful lot of Caterhams here, all fighting for the same bit of road now. And up the inside is looking Stuart Bell. That was never going to work, though. Lars Hoffman around the outside of Ben Buckley for the race lead, and he will go through. Buckley down to 2nd. And 190, I think that is, that's joining in the fun now as well. That's Harry Cook, is it, from down on about the 6th or 7th row of the grid. So more new names adding themselves to this list. One car came into the pit lane, I noticed in the background. Not sure who that was. Big dive up the inside. Will that end in tears? No. Ben Lopez Appleton gets the car stopped, but only just, and not quite in time to prevent the switchback manoeuvre. So the place he gained on the way into the corner, which I think was 4th in class, has turned once again right back into 5th place. So Lars Hoffman into the lead of the Road Sports category then. Once again, the race winner in the Road Sports yesterday. But now under pressure again, because as soon as you get in front, there's another straight that comes up, and then they're all back over you again, and we're now getting in towards the final 10 minutes as well. So the time for playing nice, if that ever happened, has well and truly passed now. And I think that might be Harry Cook, is it? Coming up the inside, try and take the race lead away. No, can't get there in the end. It's still Stuart Bell, and they're 3 abreast there, but that is, I think, Cook, the red 190 machine, who is going for 4th, yes, and gets it. Gets himself ahead of Ben Lopez Appleton again. And then Alvarez racing with Andy Lees. So this is just a 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 car lead battle for the road sports category, with positions quite literally changing by the corner. Now, the 270Rs, quite frankly, this all looks rather boring. There are only 5 of them now fighting for the race lead because everyone else has tripped over each other. But that means that this will be a really concentrated battle now between these 5. They don't have to worry about backing themselves up into other people. It's a 5-way shootout now for the race victory. Matt Shepherd, that is, going around the outside of Daniel Halstead, who'll be fuming, I'm sure, at the way that this race has worked out for him. He was fighting for the lead earlier on, and then those couple of bits of contact, and he's ended up still in 6th or 7th position, but a few seconds now off the lead pack. And once you lose that toe, as we've said, it's almost impossible to get it back. Tom Allen, though, is proving almost impossible to usurp from the race lead, because Justin Heap still has been able to find a way through, and now Daniel French and Graham McDonald are growing rather impatient behind him. He pulls to the outside again, but Allen is defending everywhere he needs to. Oh, that's a nice move. Graham McDonald left the door open there. Straight through on the inside went Neil Fraser, who is the 5th car in this battle, or now the 4th car in the battle, I suppose. That's the risk. If you go to the outside line, the reason they go to the outside at La Source, it looks silly in a way because they're leaving the door wide open, but if you can take the wide line in, then you carry better speed off the turn, and then you get the run through this flat-out section down through Eau Rouge, Radion, and up the Kemmel Straight. So it makes sense to do, but if there's someone right on your tail, then it's an open invitation, really, for them to slip through. Back to the road sports now, and Lars Alexander Hoffman's still got Stuart Bell attacking around the outside. Then Buckley locks up and gets hit, I think, from behind. Oh, there's more contact, and that's Angelas Alvarez. That's Alvarez, 2nd place in the championship, who mounts the side of, I think that was the 22, was it not? Or Ben Lopez, not 22, 15, Ben Lopez Appleton that he hit, but Angelas Alvarez, has he got damage to the front suspension? I fear he might. That was a big hit, and I think that's Appleton that's now rejoining. Yes, he is. Sheds a wing, but his car also, I'm sure, is not pointing quite straight. He reaches out to try and fix some of the damage himself, which is a luxury he has. Oh, and that's a shame. Ben Buckley's had damage as well. Now, I noticed there was a separate spin for Buckley. I have to say, because I was focusing on Alvarez, I didn't spot what happened to him, so I'll have to say replay. And as if by magic, there it is. So Buckley is in the middle there, number 42, locks up, runs wide, gets hit by the 15 car. Oh, and then hit by Andy Lees as well, who probably got some damage out of that. So 4 cars maybe walking wounded now. One of them we know is out, which is Ben Buckley, but Andy Lees, I'm sure, probably didn't come out of that unscathed either. So the bus stop chicane proving to be a bit of a pinch point, as often it does. And so who does that leave now? Well, it's sort of split the pack now. This was about a 9 or 10 car battle. It's now just the 5 of them, and it is Stuart Bell, who was 2nd yesterday, leading the way, and Lars Alexander Hoffman, who was 1st yesterday, in 2nd place. It's remarkable how through all of the chaos and confusion, the cream really does rise to the top, and the drivers who we regularly see winning races and fighting for the championship, 9 times out of 10, they're the ones that come out of it with their cars more or less intact and fighting for the race victories when it's all going rather chaotically around them. So Bell leading then. 270Rs are approaching some traffic, so this could get fun. Still Tom Allen in the lead though. And the yellow flag's out here now. I don't think there will be. There's a blue flag for the 44 car, which does now go a lap down. That's Andrew Sargent. And there may well be yellow flags because we've got the all of this debris. I don't know what the white stuff is. It also looks like tissue, doesn't it? That's somehow blown onto the circuit. Never did quite get to the bottom of that, but may well be there's a slippery surface or a yellow flag out there to warn them. And it's right, some of the stuff that from the exhaust then, which would make sense because there was some front to rear contact, wasn't there, that was made when that all appeared on the track. So the 270R battle then now starting to thin out slightly, but Tom Allen has been difficult to get around so far this weekend, be it in the wet or the dry. Justin Heap's had a go. He's been following him for a few laps, but hasn't really been able to mount a serious challenge. Now in the 270Rs, as a brave Marshall heads onto the circuit to move the bits of Caterham. Now I wouldn't want to be stood there right now because the Roadsports pack are descending upon the bus stop at speed. Thankfully there are yellow flags out to say no overtaking. They all have to slow down. Good line of sight as well there, I suppose, one of the more open sections of the circuit, so they all saw it. Nice driving. And then they come out to the corner and the green flags fly again and they can continue the battle. But I was about to say that Hoffman and Bell were pulling away, but I think that yellow flag, they maybe slowed down a bit earlier or a bit more significantly than the cars behind, and that has bunched the top 5 back together again. So too will the fact that Bell is now really starting to mount an attack again for the race lead. Race down the hill then, Lars Alexander Hoffman leading the way, Bell second, third for Justin, oh, it was third place, so third place has changed anyway now. It's now the 190 again of Harry Cook who's come through. So it is, it can't be Alvana surely in 4th position because he got delayed significantly in that contact at the bus stop. So Alvanos unfortunately looks set to lose some points here. Back into the class lead though goes Stuart Bell. And now another new player, Alan Venters, who we haven't really seen much of all race, but Alan in the dark blue car, they're going around the outside for second. Can't do that either. Oh, and more wingers go flying. I'll tell you what, there are going to be some souvenirs here for the marshals around the circuit come the end of the day. That came from Harry Cook's car, I think. The left rear has gone. And actually Alan Venters drops back behind them again, so Cook, despite shedding bodywork, gains a place. Oh, look at this, side by side through Blanchimont. That is so brave, but still they cannot get rid of Tom Allen from the race lead. And we're going on to what will be the penultimate lap now. Oh, here comes Heap up the inside. They're ganging up on him. Oh, there's contact. There's contact for Allen. He runs McDonald off the road. McDonald will rejoin, but he won't be allowed to maintain the race lead at all. And all of a sudden, Tom Allen finds himself outside the top 5 because Matt Shepherd has closed in as well. Number 86 is in there too now. That's James Deleuze-Ignon. So that was about a 4-second gap between 5th and 6th, which has been eradicated over the course of about 2 laps. And Tom Allen got well and truly mugged then because McDonald went round the outside and up the inside came Justin Heap. Here's the replay. Allen thinks he's got it all under control, but then he doesn't know which way to look. And I think he's so focused on McDonald, he doesn't even know that Justin Heap is there. There's a bit of wheel banging. They both run out wide. And McDonald, in the end, loses slightly less time than Tom Allen did. But Tom Allen, well, that was not in the script. He was 7th across the start-finish line. And now, as we go on to the penultimate lap of the race, we need to watch Tom Allen to see whether or not he's able to regroup from this. He'll be back in the tow again. There he is, peeking out to the outside line. Then the red car with the black highlights. Daniel French, the blue car with the yellow highlights, is going for the race lead with Justin Heap on the inside. But Tom Allen is coming. He's up into about 3rd place as they hit the brakes. Tom Allen is in the race lead. Phenomenal driving from Tom Allen, who goes from 1st to 7th to 1st in less than half a lap. Only in Caterham racing would you see something like that happening. That was remarkable. Number 16 is off the road, unfortunately. And so that's a car that was running further down the order anyway, I think, that has gone missing. And will hopefully be able to rejoin. Didn't seem too badly damaged. But my word, Tom Allen is going to be showing his friends and family that clip for quite some time. That was a remarkable bit of driving. It's amazing what the red mist will do for you, and I'm sure the red mist had fully descended for Tom Allen there, having been sort of dumped down the order unceremoniously at the end of the previous lap. But he saw his chance, and we've seen people do that already in this race, going for our 8th or 7th place to the lead down that straight. If you get a good run, look at this. He's already into about 3rd place here, but then he had to do some of this work under braking as well. And remember, he's carrying more speed than the cars around him because he had that tow. So in theory, he should have to brake earlier than them, but he didn't, and he went right round the outside of them all, and Tom Allen is back in the lead. Now that's a slight concern because that number 16 car has not been able to rejoin. That's James Crocker, one of the Roadsports that's still stranded at the side of the road. With one more lap to go after this one, though, they should hopefully be able to cover that under double waved yellows. Now, once again, we've got about 10 cars in a train for the lead of the race, and here comes Graham McDonald for 2nd place now, at the inside of Justin Heap, and that should be a fairly straightforward mirror signal manoeuvre, slingshot overtake. Matt Shepherd's one to watch here as well, I think, isn't he? The yellow machine, who's been a bit anonymous in this race so far. but he's now into the leading pack. He's in 4th place there, the yellow car, and looking to the outside. Now, there's no one else on the outside. If he's brave under braking, he might be able to pull this off, but no, Heap and McDonald are later on the brakes than him, and they had the preferred line, and there's contact between the two of them, and more bits from the exhaust go flying. I think they're bottoming out on that sausage curb and damaging the exhaust, which will not be doing the cars any good. Right, we're on to the final lap of the race now, which I'm equal parts relieved and disappointed by. I'm relieved because it means I'll get to breathe in about 2 minutes' time for the first time in half an hour. I'm a bit disappointed, though, because it's one of those races you do not want to end. This is phenomenal stuff, and still, any one of this leading pack of cars will feel that they've got a legitimate shot of at least being on the podium, maybe even snatching the victory. But Tom Allen is breaking away slightly now. Ironically, though, pulling out that sort of a gap is not necessarily a good thing, because it gives the cars behind you a bit more of a run. This is another sort of NASCAR or IndyCar racing technique. If you drop back a bit and then start catching in the toe, you get more momentum, and Graham McDonald is trying to do that. He's got Justin Heap giving him the bumper from behind, but then Heap pulls out of line and goes into 2nd position. Can he challenge Tom Allen for the race lead? Yes, he can! Justin Heap's gone right around the outside of him, and that could have been a really timely manoeuvre, but then here comes Matt Shepherd. Matt Shepherd around the outside from 4th to 1st. I wasn't even watching the yellow machine, but he has gone through, and Tom Allen once again finds himself back down in 4th position. Half a lap to go. Can Allen really fight back from this, though, because he's lost his best overtaking opportunity? I said earlier on in the race, you don't necessarily want to lead onto the Kemmel Straight on the final lap, and that was something that Tom Allen has just discovered to his disadvantage, and he's now down outside of the podium positions, would you believe, for the man who's dominated this race, really, in Caterham terms. But I did fear when he got that big lead going through Eau Rouge that he was too far ahead and they were going to get the run, and indeed they did, and it was Matt Shepherd who caught the best run of all. And he has moved into the lead of the race now, with Justin Heap 2nd, Graham McDonald 3rd, 4th place Tom Allen, 5th is Daniel French, Greg Monks in 6th. Tom Allen trying to fight back here as McDonald goes to the outside line, and that will be 3rd place surely for him, as Justin Heap goes for the race lead up the inside of Matt Shepherd, who left the door wide open there into the pit path, where we haven't seen that much overtaking today. But Matt Shepherd has just lost the race lead. Justin Heap's gone through. They're really starting to stack up against each other now. There's damage done there to the front of Neil Fraser's orange machine, unfortunately, so he's probably out of it. But has Justin Heap timed this to perfection? Matt Shepherd is sideways. That means he's slow off the corner, and that will back up Tom Allen behind him as well. Oh, Tom Allen's off the road, though. Tom Allen almost into the gravel trap, and that's cost him any shot at the race victory. Even the wounded Neil Fraser's car goes through, and Tom Allen right down the order now. There's another car off the road as well, as Justin Heap attacks Matt Shepherd for the lead, and Graham McDonald comes through. Graham McDonald from 3rd place gets into 2nd. He's up the inside of Shepherd into Blanchimont and takes the race lead away. 2 more corners to go. 1 more big braking zone into the bus stop chicane, and the Scottish driver Graham McDonald's got himself out in front, but Matt Shepherd goes to the outside of him. He gets his nose in front. If they all get through the chicane with no contact, it's an absolute miracle. Sideways for Shepherd. McDonald's got the lead, and he might just have done enough. Shepherd's quicker off the corner, but I don't think he'll be able to pull alongside. And Graham McDonald, in sensational fashion, will win the 2nd Caterham 270R race of the weekend. That was fantastic racing from all involved, and it is McDonald that gets it on the line by 0.174 of a second over Shepherd in 2nd and Heap in 3rd, all of whom led at some point in the final half a lap. Right, I forgot about the Roadsports. They've still got to settle their battles as well. Now this, I don't think, is the lead Roadsports battle, is it? Because I don't recognise any of these cars, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it hasn't all changed. In amongst this group, we've got the 14 cars, so let's see where 14 is running in the order. Try and piece it together. Oh, there we go, there are the leaders, and Lars Alexander Hoffman appears to have the lead of the race fairly securely, but I use those words very cautiously in Caterham racing, because it does look as though Stuart Bell is reeling him in, and so too Harry Cook in the red machine, who's up the inside into Blanchimont and goes into the lead of the race again. So he's clearly heard what Graham McDonald just did in the 270Rs and executed nearly an exactly the same manoeuvre. Hoffman will no doubt try to fight back though, goes from the inside to the outside, but Stuart Bell's going around the outside of both of them. Rear wing flapping in the air, he's sideways, he can't get the car stopped, he shortcuts the chicane. He will not be allowed to take the race victory. Having done that though, it's surely going to be Harry Cook that will get there. It's a drag race to the line though, and Lars Hoffman pulls alongside as well, and I think Hoffman will win it, because Bell got to the line first, but having shortcut the final chicane, and I'm pretty sure that Lars Alexander Hoffman, by 21 thousandths of a second, having pipped Harry Cook to the line, I think he will be the winner. We'll await confirmation on that, and I'll let you know maybe later on in the day, but I'm pretty sure that that will not go to Stuart Bell. I suppose Stuart thought, well, I might as well just win the race and argue my case later on, but I'm fairly certain he wasn't even forced off the road, was he, either? He outbraked himself, ran straight on, and as a result, took the race lead, which for me is a fairly clear example of someone exceeding track limits and taking advantage of it. Angelo Salvanis, by the way, second in the championship, has just come across the line in 40th overall, which is 14th in the road sports. It's been a disastrous weekend for Alvanos, and so that means that Stuart Bell, who, whether he won the race or not, still would have finished somewhere towards the front. He ought to be able to extend his points lead even further. He was something like 7 points ahead, I think, coming into that race. And what a race it was. It was Graham McDonald that took the victory in the 270Rs. What a finish that was. Matt Shepherd was second, Justin Heat was third, then Daniel French and Greg Monks fifth, James Delusignan was sixth, Neil Fraser seventh, Tom Allen, Daniel Halstead and Ollie Pratt rounded out the top 10 in the 270Rs. Well, that was a phenomenal race. The road sports then went right down to the wire as well. We hope you enjoyed it. There's more Caterham racing coming up later on from the 420s and the 310Rs at 3:45 local time, 2:45 UK time. I'm sure you will join us for that one as well.